If you're managing large-scale ad budgets, you know how much of a creative fatigue is. You find a winning ad, you try to increase spend on it, and boom, it just stops working. So today I'll show you how we've been able to create ads that have even gotten over $400,000 in spend without creative fatigue and hitting ROAS targets, and without UGC creatives as well, which is a different topic, but I just thought of putting it out there just to flex a little bit. So we make around 20,000 ad creatives a month, and I can tell you, after looking at all the creatives that have scaled above $100,000, they all follow a same structure. And this is not something that we've done intentionally. Of course, after creating so many ads, we've just noticed all the ads that get above that amount of spend follow the same structure. So creative fatigue does not start after you create the ad. So it's not something where you have the ad and then you run it and then it fatigues. It actually starts in the point of ideation, at the very first stage of your ad creation process. That's where it begins. That's basically the root cause. And in this video, I'll also show you the steps that we take in order to make a winning ad, a scalable winning ad. So right when you begin your process of creating an ad, the first touch point is basically you just coming up with the idea, the research and the ideation. So in this point in time, what you should have in your head is not creating an ad that's going to hit KPI. That should not be the mindset that you have if you want to create scalable winning ads. Because you can create ads that hit KPI. So you might have ads that they're able to get the target cost per install or the ROAS that you're aiming for. But the moment you put more ad spend into it, it just stops working. And the reason is the idea, the initial idea and the execution of the idea is not designed to be scalable. So what does a scalable ad look like? What's the structure of an ad that scales? So in my personal experience from the ads that I've run, pretty much all the ads that have scaled well above $100,000 can be characterized as being broad and clear and simple. Broad, clear, and simple does not equate a very basic ad, right? It's not just a picture with a bunch of stuff on it or a video with just captions on it. No, the message that you're trying to communicate gets communicated really easily. It's very simple, it's very straightforward, and it's very broad. The subject that you talk about, the feature that you talk about, the use case, all these variables are very broad and they're communicated very, very simply. That's the formula that we've seen across ads that work really well. More than being creative, it's about being clever. How can you take all the variables that you want people to see or you're trying to communicate? How can you take all of them and then put them into video or photo in a way that's the most easiest to consume? You need to make the video or photo, whatever you're creating, very, very easy to consume. All of the ads that we made that have gotten really high amount of spends, right when you look at the image or the video, you would get an idea on what the app does or the feature or whatever. It's very simple, it's very straightforward. The other important thing is the things that you put out. So maybe the use case of the app, the feature that you're trying to show, the pain point, the use case, all of these things should also be as broad as possible. Because what happens is when you increase spend, when you're trying to put more spend into an ad, it just goes to a more colder audience. So the audience becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And the ad that you targeted towards people who are problem aware most likely won't work when you have more spend because your ad is being shown to more colder audiences. So your ad should be designed to an unaware audience, which is why oftentimes when you increase spend, the ad just stops working because it's not designed for unaware people to see. It's designed for people who are problem aware to see. So the audience that your ad is created to is also very important. To simply put, you should just go an audience level above, if that makes sense, if your ad burns out when you put spend. Now, this could be going from a solution aware audience to a more problem-aware audience, which is what we've seen in one of the health and fitness apps that we were working on, where pretty much the ad that got the most spend was initially just talking about counting calories. Counting calories is pretty much people who know, okay, we need to count calories, and they can use a scale, MyFitnessPal, whatever. But what we can do is we can go a step up and then target people who want to lose weight and introduce counting calories. So the ad where we introduced losing weight as a first touch point is the one that got the most spend. But initially, the ad that we're talking about counting calories, it did get spend, it get a lot of spend. But the one that got the most spend was the one where we talk about weight loss because that's a audience level above. It's much more broad. Another thing that's important as much as audiences is the actual things that you showcase of the app. Are the things that you're showcasing regarding the app? This could be the use case, the feature, the pain point, the model, whatever it is. are these things broad enough as well? Now, let me give you an example here. We work with the photo editing app. What we wanted to talk about was specifically hairstyles. With this app, you could create different hairstyles, XYZ, XYZ. And we found a winning ad, but what would happen is after it got a little bit of spend, it would start burning out. And the way we started iterating on this was we didn't change the caption or the footage or anything. We straight up changed the model. We changed the person who we used to try different hairstyles. And you might think, oh my God, you have to use a UGC creator. They're going to take weeks to produce. No, you don't need that. You can use tools like Flux. So we created almost 70 different models, AI models, using AI, and then use them on the ad. Because number one, this was very quick. We could do this in a couple of days because we have a dedicated team just to create AI assets. We created these models and they ran all these models. And from this, we were able to find a really, really scalable ad. Why? Because this specific model, it sounds racist, but this white model seems to be the one that works the best. And this is just one example. You could also be testing the wrong use case. For example, if you have, let's say, an education app and you want to show something, you might not be showing a feature that most people care about. So whenever you have an ad that's winning, here are some steps that we personally follow as well in order to test and iterate on the ad to turn a winning ad into a scalable one. So the first step that you should be doing whenever you have a winning ad is to, number one, start iterating different audiences, like I told earlier. Start going upwards. So you would go broader and broader in terms of your messaging. So it could be changing the actual copy of the ad. We typically only change the hook, and this seems to work fine. We would just change the hook. We would change the wording and the way basically the hook is presented. From if it's maybe in a problem-aware stage, we would change it to an unaware hook. If it's in a solution-aware, we would change it to a problem-aware so that it goes upwards. It goes more broader. And we would test a lot of hooks. So you don't have to change the entire ad. If you want to iterate on it, you can just change the hook, because once you have these people hooked in, then you can obviously work around it with the body. And I haven't seen any issues where you would have to change the body as well. We've only changed hooks. But keep in mind, don't be afraid to create a lot of variation. Typically, whenever we have a winning ad, we try to go for 16 to 32 different variations initially, just to turn it into a much bigger winner. The reason we do so many variations is I can tell you from personal experience, just by changing 4 words of the caption on the video, not the video, the photo, we've had ads become winners after being losers just by changing 4 words of the caption. So don't be afraid to create variations, especially if you're dealing with high budgets, because these get shown to very large audiences, and these small changes can be the reason you have a $100,000 ad and zero or a negative $100,000 ad. And the other thing you should look out for should be the actual execution. So let's say you did enough tests and you're able to find out the most broad use case, you're able to find the most broad feature, and you're able to find all these variables that are very broad. But if you up the execution, it's equally important as research and finding all these variables, the execution. The execution is very important. Spend just enough time as you would spend researching, executing on the ad. And by executing, what I mean is you need to see how the people in that niche, in that basically that the audience that you're going after consume content. What type of content do they consume and how do they consume it? What type of editing do they like? What type of music? What type of captions, background, whatever. Make sure you do research about the execution as much as you do basic research and identifying what the best use case is. Because if you mess up the execution, no matter how good you've identified all of these things, how the use case feature, no matter how much you've identified it, if you're not able to put this puzzle together really well, it's not going to work out. So pay attention and do enough research on the actual execution. See how your target audience consumes content as well. My key takeaways from this video would be, number one, try to go broad as possible with your creative. Keep it very simple. Keep it easy to consume. Not ugly, not like a bad ad, but make it easy to consume. Start iterating fast whenever you have a winner, and don't be afraid to iterate, and focus on execution as much as you would focus on research. So I hope this video helps, and if you have any questions, leave them down below, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care.